Hey, this is Alexi Lawless. There is nobody in U.S. soccer that is more important than the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah! Yes, hello, welcome, everybody. How are you doing, my man? In the Jamaica kit?
Wagwan to everybody listening. Your boy's stunting.
This is now officially the Jamaican soccer podcast.
Because Jamaican me crazy for soccer.
You know how we sound Jamaican?
You know?
You recognize our accent?
Yeah, of course. We wild Jamaican. I grew up next to Sean Paul. What about you?
I grew up next to Petra.
And she always wanted a romantic call.
I've said all the Jamaican things I know.
And we're done. Bob Marley, everybody. No, shouts to Umbro. Shouts to Good Life.
Good Life. Thank you for these Jamaica
beautiful
kids.
Kits. And it doesn't end here.
It does not.
Turn around. Hold on. We'll read mine for I guess it makes more sense.
Okay, the back.
What does mine say?
The back of yours says has the number 1, and then it says gulliest on there as the name.
Well, what about yours? Let me read yours. What does yours say?
What does mine say?
Oh my God! It says the number 2 and the word gully.
Okay.
So I may be the gulliest one, but you are gully too.
Or too gully.
Yeah, or too gully.
As some may say.
There you go. And of course it says Reggae Boys on it, and it's dope. It has like a throwback appeal to it.
This is very, very cool. Thank you so much. And yeah, this is incredibly kind of. Well, again, we get too many gifts.
No, I feel like we're not getting enough. So
tone it down. With all...
If you're afraid to pull the trigger on sending us a gift, might I be the first to encourage you to go ahead and pull said trigger.
Okay.
And if you're unsure as to what we would like, maybe we should be like those, what are those girls? What do they call themselves when they post that they want people to pay their bills and stuff?
Oh, like a sugar looking for a sugar daddy.
Baby. Sugar baby. Yes, we'll be the sugar babies of
soccer baby. What was soccer babies?
Soccer babies. All right, and we're looking for our soccer moms. Okay, so we should create one of those wish lists on Amazon.
Okay,
and just post all the things we
sure.
want.
All of a sudden, the Cooligans become cam girls.
Yeah, dude. Hit us up with some Bitcoin.
Hello, this is a soccer show, I promise. Hello.
We swear this is a soccer
Welcome
podcast.
to the show. My name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexi Gulliest now because of the shirt. No, it's Alexis Guerrero's.
We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host a soccer podcast, and it is not only the funniest soccer podcast that you've ever listened to.
That's
it is
right.
also what, Alexis? It says it right on your shirt.
Happens to be the gulliest soccer podcast.
That is correct.
And we do more than podcasts. We do live events. We cam girls now. We do it all, you know? Find us on Reddit, on one of them weird subreddits.
Okay, man. I mean, look, the level, the amount of endeavors has no limit for
we got
the
a lot
Cooligans.
of irons in the fire, and I put air quotes on irons and fire. So you can replace those with whatever you want in whatever you want.
Yes. So again, yes, we're always looking for somebody to take care of us. Welcome.
please pay our bills.
Welcome to the show. A lot to discuss. A lot happened last week, and obviously in American soccer with the U.S. women's national team, the U.S. men's national team. MLS came back. They were gone for a while, and it's nice to see Major League Soccer make a little return.
Especially because as soon as it came back, everything is turned upside down.
Well, it's weird when MLS comes back in these. There's like 45 soccer tournaments going on at the time, and a lot of the rosters are like. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Who's this? I think there's a 14-year-old from the academy on the team because they don't have enough players to field.
What USL team put on a Toronto FC jersey? Let's find out who these people are.
So we're going to talk about all of that stuff, and we're excited about our guest today because we will be joined by Bobby Wasrhaw of MajorLeagueSoccer.com.
And I will let you know this: we haven't recorded that part of the podcast yet because he's not here yet. But we're not going to let him get away with the shit he gets away with on extra time. You can't just contrarian your way out of an argument with us. All right?
Okay, yeah.
We ain't soft like Matt Doyle and the rest of that Squishy Charmin crew, okay?
Okay.
We're going to go right at them.
I haven't tried that brand, Squishy Charmin, but I'm going to consider
Squishy Charmin.
It feels like
That's my Reddit username.
it feel like it'll be good for my posterior. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. A little bit of aloe in there, makes everything feel good again.
And we are in the audience today. We have an audience
A guest
member,
of honor.
a guest of honor, a
Gully Squad member.
You know who we love. We always love when Gully Squad members come through.
Shouts to Gully Squad. If you want to join Gully Squad, go to soccercooligans.com/Gully Squad. But the person sitting in our audience already did that.
Exactly, and he's not only a fan of the show, but he's genuinely a friend. A great dude, Neil.
Great dude.
Hey, Neil, scream loud enough so that people can hear you. All right.
That was not loud enough for even the person next to you to hear. But that's Neil. That's peak Neil. He's a chill guy.
That is Neil Gavoni. He's a third rail member. He's involved a lot in third rail Connecticut, right? And does and puts a lot of things to TIFO. Does everything. He really helps NYCFC and the fan culture. So
and might I add, looking amazing, dude.
Okay.
Good for you.
All right. I think Alexis just harassed Neil. I don't know.
Why don't you back it up a little bit, Neil?
Come over here and sit on Squishy Sharman's lap.
I know. Come tell Squishy Sharman which one of my gifts you would like. Oh, boy.
All right. It's normally, he's a good sport.
Right now, somebody just X'd out their Gully Squad membership that they were about to sign up for. And they're like, no, I don't think I need these rewards.
These perks are a little too perky.
A little too.
So, but we're happy he's here. It's always cool when people come through and watch the show. Okay. Also, let me just mention this.
We're sitting at a table with another esteemed gift and guest.
We did give away the Florentine Pogba bobblehead. That was a hit.
It was a massive hit.
We did not expect the response that it got.
I said, get the Foco out of here. Again, made by Foco.
but it is here, and we just want to at least acknowledge and celebrate.
I'm gonna miss it.
I'm
gonna miss it when it's gone.
That Florentine Pog that we had no idea was that he would receive, but we didn't know.
And it's so lifelike. It even got a red card without doing anything. So lifelike.
Well, you gotta
gave up a penalty.
I gave up a penalty that was absurd. So we'll talk about that. So who was the name of the winner? Was Sean. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's Steele or Stille, Stille. Sean Steele, Atlanta United fan, so thank you for participating.
Yeah, congrats, Sean. You get to wow all your friends with an explanation as to who Florentine Pogba is. So, congrats.
So,
it's not that one. It's the other. Yeah, I don't know why they made it either.
But how cool was it to see Paul Pogba working out in an Atlanta United jersey?
I thought he was going to sign to quality control, become the fourth Migos. He was all over Atlanta.
He was all over Atlanta, man. That was cool to see. It helps without a doubt. It will help the brand of Atlanta United, right? Because somebody's going to see that.
It definitely don't hurt.
Exactly.
Neil actually just said he passed by the Adidas store here in New York. There was a line around the block, and it's for Paul Pogba.
Paul Pogba is here in New York.
He's making an appearance. So if, let's say, 10% of those people waiting in line saw that photo and was like, oh, what team is this? Atlanta United. Well, that's dope.
And, and definitely in maybe not as much here. It's hard to say, but compared to like basketball jerseys are used to be that like you would rock a black basketball jersey from any team. Like it would just be a part of you. If it matches your sneakers, you're good, right?
Especially as Knicks fans, we had nothing else to root for, so you wear whatever you want.
So but you can imagine this in Europe. Probably there's that getting an MLS jersey, right? We saw
it is kind of fire.
It's kind of it's dope. It's it's very it's unique. It's where'd you cop that?
It's like I got the Russian League jersey, the Zenit St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
When I wear that, people are like, yo, that's fire.
What's the comic in Ireland that was wearing an
Gary Doyle.
Shouts
to Gary Doyle.
Yeah. So
Born in Atlanta United, and he has a Colorado Rapids. I think he's in Colorado right now. Actually, he's got family out there.
Yeah. One team is wildly more, a little bit better than the other.
Yeah, but the other one's way more obscure. So,
so that was dope. So, okay, so let's
show love to the people who show us love.
And we have to say thank you for helping us get to 500 reviews.
We did it
on iTunes. Thank you so much.
506. But it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there.
Let's make that 5 a 6. 600.
Let's go for 600. So, but thank you so much. It really does help, and more people get to hear about the show and get to hear about the incredible experience that you have
means the world to us.
while listening. So we do appreciate it very much. So I want to read this one very quickly. This is by Franco. And
I thought you were gonna go with the other one.
no, you can read the other one.
No, I meant this one over here.
I can't see what you're saying, but I'll just read this one. It's just we got it. We have a lot of show. So this one, it says best soccer pod. That is the title, 5 stars, and it goes. Franco writes, legit the best soccer podcast out.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Okay, yeah.
Well, damn.
Wow, there's not so meaning there is no
Concise.
no other better show.
No, of course
about
not.
soccer.
No, I mean we know that.
We know that. I'm glad other people are getting to learn.
You know what he's doing? He's validating our opinion. And by that I mean fact. I got this from NYC Mom 43.
Okay, I love this one.
NYC Mom must be just a nice person. She's a mother.
Of course,
she's probably going to be so supportive. Maybe tussle our hair a little bit. And she says, "You guys rock."
Okay.
5 stars. You guys rock already.
Look at that.
Just like a nice
moms love rock and roll.
Right. Yeah, just like a warm cup of milk. And she starts by saying, I used to think you guys were a couple of forgettable cornballs, but not anymore. Yo, NYC Mom. Yo.
Whoa.
What happened to the sun? Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's covered by all the shade. NYC Mom. Is this the example you want to set for your children? NYC Mom? This is, by the way, this is exactly how a New York City mom should be. I used to think you guys was trash.
Yo, you guys were mad corny.
Damn.
But then, you guys kind of won me over.
All right, but I don't know. Something changed. I thought y'all was garbage.
Yeah, and, my 4-year-old loves you now.
I hated everything about you. I farted on your doorknob once just because I didn't like you. But now, so she put, I used to think you guys were a couple of forgettable cornballs, but not anymore. You lured me in with your fantastic interviews, particularly of the U.S. women's national team players, in parentheses, hoping you do a live show from the wedding.
Okay.
Okay. And also, please bring back Joanna Hausman. She is still my favorite all-time guest and should be a regular. I agree. You guys are hilariously on point, yet never cruelly so. I'm happy to see you guys getting more recognition. Wish I could go to the live show with Total Soccer Show. That's right, the live show we're doing in D.C.
That's
next
right.
weekend.
Go to soccercooligans.com/DC and get tickets for our show at Audi Field. So make sure you do that.
Soccercooligans.com/DC.
Yeah, this won't be the last time you hear about it. So.
No. You're gonna, also,
really
if you put on Total Soccer Show, you're going to hear a lot about it. And if you follow DC United on Twitter, you're going to hear a lot about it. But we're doing an amazing show. The guests have yet to be announced. Boy, when they do, you're going to wish you grabbed those tickets earlier.
Exactly. So, you know what? While I was reading this review, I found what stuck out to me. Well, not the forgettable cornballs, which I understand. It takes, especially for New Yorkers, it takes a lot to let someone into your bubble, in your heart. You know what I mean? It's just like, New Yorkers are just like on the subway. I don't trust you. Right. I'll be close to you.
I'm making eye contact. And as soon as you say something, I'm rolling my eyes.
Okay? Because I'm skeptical.
Yeah, very cynical people here in New York. I'm one of those. I get it.
Which is fine. So I understand. So it means, even though it says, I thought you were a couple forgettable cornballs, the fact that we've won her over means more than just being accepted immediately.
That's right. We started from less than 0.
Exactly.
We were in the category of forgettable. First of all, forgettable. I mean, ouch.
Not even just cornball.
Yo, they're cornballs. Wait, who was that talking about again? I forgot already. That's rough.
But this is what stuck out to me was you guys are hilariously on point, yet never cruelly so. Which, as a comedian, that is where for
That's
me
the goal.
That is the goal. But it's also something that is clearly on people's minds with the sort of state of comedy, right? Where people want to laugh, but they don't want it to be cruel. They don't want it to be at the expense of somebody else, which is totally fine, but not necessarily the point of comedy, right?
I mean, I get the whole punching up thing. I get it. I don't follow that as a religion.
Yeah.
But I also, when I see someone punching down, I'm like, all right, I get it. Why people may not like this.
I
don't care what you do as long as it's funny. Do it. But yeah, I get the point. Like the fact that we're not cruelly, on point, and we're trying to make people laugh.
Which is also subjective, right? Because some people might think that we've
gotten those reviews. But someone who hasn't made the turn yet that you did.
But we'll get them. You know, at this point, for them, we're still at forgettable cornball.
Yeah.
But we'll win them over.
Like, I hate those two guys, but I can't remember who they are. But like, I mean, to me, this also means a lot.
Yes, it does. So thank you so much.
And also, you've been listening for a while. I mean, these are some, Joanna Houseman wasn't like a week ago. You know what I mean?
What took so long to leave a review?
Damn NYC mom.
Oh, you too busy being a mom? Is that
Wow.
what it is?
Also, pack us some sandwiches, I'll get out some Lunchables. We'll hang out.
Exactly. Be our mom.
Yeah.
What?
Be our soccer mom.
Yes, we are the soccer babies.
Well, shouts to you, NYC mom. I used to think you were mean in the first sentence, but not anymore.
Everything's changed. Okay, so a lot to discuss. I think we should. Where should we begin in particular? I mean, let's start with some women's national team news.
Even though I'm sure we're going to talk about it when Bobby's in, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit. But obviously, U.S. against France, right?
Yeah.
And
this was the game. Everybody, the matchup you all wanted. Did you? In their own house?
This was exciting, and we did get to host the game under the archway at Dumbo.
What an honor.
It was an honor. It was
500 people.
Yeah. We're like, who are these guys?
Yeah. We're like, could you get those guys to stop yelling into that microphone?
No, everyone was super cool. They were families. They were
children, adults,
unmarried sinners.
Yeah, drunk French people. There were no sober French people. They're mostly drunk. No, it was great. It was on. People brought their own food. It was like a picnic event.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was really, really cool. And we got to see the U.S. women's national team win 2-1 against France. A brace from Megan Rapinoe, one goal from Wendy Renard on France.
She's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, she's just it was not an easy goal per se. It was a great header, but still, I think it was a mistake off the line.
It was lack of coverage.
I think it was Abby Dahlkemper that was off the line, but it is what it is. They gave up the one goal, but it's still the U.S. looked pretty good, and this was the big test. And it would be wildly after this. It would be wildly disappointing if they don't win the World Cup.
I disagree. I actually think it only gets harder from here.
Really?
Yeah. I don't necessarily look. I think England's backline is ripe for the picking, which could make it a really fun game if you're a women's national team, a U.S. women's national team fan. But I like you even brought up Germany before. There's other teams other than France. France was the one where they're home and they're this and they're that. Sure. But they're not the only ones that are balling right now.
Yeah, but I would not say England is balling. I mean, they're definitely good.
They're good enough to get here.
I think France is better than England. I think
without a doubt.
So I'm not particularly.
But we also had one absolutely magical goal by Rapinoe to start the match.
Yeah.
And a clampdown defense, and their forwards didn't
When you
do
say
much.
magical, do you think are you implying that it had some luck, or was?
Without a doubt.
Oh, you think so?
It nutmegged 75 people on the way to the goal, and there's not even that many people on the field.
No, but I think it was a great dummy from Julie Ertz. I don't think it was as magical as it
I don't disagree with you, but, training ground, free kicks don't always go as planned.
Sure.
Especially when that could have just nicked somebody's knee or ankle or anything. It certainly took... It was amazing, and I don't want to take that away. Rapinoe, I think it was planned. At the end of the day, it took a lot of luck for that to go in. That wasn't pure skill.
I agree with that, but I think the skilled decision was of Julie Ertz to not touch the ball. That's all I'm saying.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. The amount of balls that this team has is just undeniable. In the biggest matchup, probably the biggest game in the history of the women's national team, I think. I'm sure they've been in finals, but this is the toughest match in France.
In France, yeah. I mean,
with a team that was perfectly set up to beat them.
Yeah.
In their own home. And they go out and do that?
Well,
in the 5th minute?
France.
Body bags.
France, for the most part, I thought, were not that scary, at least offensively, up until toward the end of the game when the U.S. women were trying to more focus on just defending, like
kill the game.
The U.S. Defending is the best in the World Cup. There's no other team that defends better.
Yeah, when we clamp down, it's over.
Exactly. So that is, I don't know what team it could possibly figure them out to score a couple goals on them. Yeah, no one's going to score 2 on them. I know that.
Right.
So there's no way. So I don't think England's going to do it. England is they're pretty good, but I'm not particularly threatened. And then the statements from Phil Neville, right? So Phil Neville, coach for the Lionesses, he was
Clutching his pearls.
he was.
My Lord. Good God.
How dare.
Oh, dear. Well, I do say. I've gone Southern.
That was Southern. That was Savannah, Georgia.
We went Foghorn. Did I go Foghorn on him? I do declare.
But he was offended by the fact that there were people from the U.S. From U.S. Soccer that were at the England.
They went to scope out the hotel for the final.
To check out the hotel to be like, yo, let me look at the digs. I'm gonna see if this works for me.
Yeah, maybe the Wi-Fi in France ain't working and they can't go on, booking.com. So they went straight to the joint. Maybe they were nearby.
Exactly. So
it's not like they open rooms where like the England players are sleeping and you're like, so we're gonna move some of these beds around, get a much larger television.
They sent U.S. Soccer to get the blueprints for England.
Yeah. How you know he wasn't just spying on you, man?
Jill Ellis was rappelling from the ceiling.
She's pretending to clean a window.
No, man, they're just checking out the hotel that they're definitely gonna use when you get kicked out. That's it.
You know what? I would have. If I saw Phil Neville, I would have been like, "Excuse me, do you know where we could get confetti here in France, Phil?
You know if there's a party city around here?
Yeah. We're just trying to get some celebratory objects. We don't need it for another few days, though."
He was frustrated, suggesting that that the U.S. was apparently very arrogant. It was a very I forgot what word he used in particular, but he just sort of implied that it was very sort of presumptuous and arrogant to look at the hotel. And Jill Ellis is,
yo, our players are talking shit to the president. Why?
You think, who are you?
Yo,
dog?
who are you, my guy?
What kind of pay?
Fuck out of here. What are you talking about,
Nonsense.
Phil? We're going after the leader of the free world. Where
you see
think
my hat, dog?
Where you think you stack up on that list, Phil?
Oh my God! One of the weirdest things to be sort of like offended by, and it's so.
What you want them to do? Like go to hotels tonight, the day before, not plan?
What a strange thing to be bothered by. Like I know it's looking at it from England's perspective. Yeah, it's going to be a tough match. They know,
and they're trying to drum up any get rid of the angst and get some anger towards the women's national team. They want that, what's that called? That bullet, the bullet board material.
Bulletin board material.
Bullet board.
Oh, has Gunny made a return?
That's what you're going to get.
Gunny made a return? Oh,
Gunny's here again, folks.
Okay.
I mean, you want the bulletin board material. Bullet board, hilarious. You want something that's going to inspire the team to get a chip on their shoulder and feel like you're an underdog. But they looked at a hotel. I saw one of them dip their toes in the pool.
These devils looking at the hotel.
Oh, how dare they? I saw one of them checking their Amazon account. They're going to buy stuff if they win, man. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a silly thing. I mean, I honestly think there's better things to get mad at the U.S. women for. Or whatever.
For beating you.
It's just very, very.
For the record, we haven't. So we're recording this before the game.
We're recording this before
so we don't know. Maybe we could be wild, cocky for no reason.
We should. We haven't discussed it, but we should probably record something after
do a little phone call. We'll
do that. We'll add it after the show. So. So not only that, Phil Neville being so offended about this stupidity, but they've been Megan Rapinoe. Obviously, last week we recorded before this video came out, but she did mention asking about going to. Somebody asked her from 8x8 magazine. They put out this video. They were doing a photo shoot.
I'll translate what she said. She went. That's basically what she did. Man. She sucked her teeth.
You serious right now?
Fuck out of here.
Just then mush that dude who asked that question.
Dude, get this dude out of here, yo. Don't you dare ask me some garbage like that.
So the video went viral. as it should, because it's obviously it's a big. It was a definitely very when it comes to.
She said, "I'm not fucking going to the
the
White House."
Yeah, so
That was straight up.
You
no,
put,
you ain't mincing words.
I'd retweet that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't be like, "I'm sorry, could you elaborate?" No, I dead ass said I ain't going.
Interesting. with this emoji.
Yeah. I wonder why you're being so just so generic about it. Don't be so broad. Get right in there.
Yeah, really, just express yourself. Find ways.
If only Rapinoe could tell you how she felt.
No, but that video went viral, and guess who sees it?
The man himself. in the site. I don't want to say too much, and you have Secret Service of it. But the guy, Donald Trump responds.
He responds, but he does respond, and he
the wrong Rapinoe.
He messages. He at Megan Rapinoe, that's not Megan's. Our Megan Rapinoe's name on Twitter.
It's just some lady.
It's just I think it's M Pino on Twitter, and just some lady who happens to have the same name as Megan Rapinoe was like, and I saw her Twitter account. She was just like, "Yo, my mentions is on fire right now." So it's great.
Yeah.
Great way to handle that.
Just getting free clout.
But this is like insane, dog. Right? Like the idea that the president is like taking time to why? Who cares? There's so many people.
The guy's about to meet with Kim Jong-un in the demilitarized.
They met already.
Okay.
They chilled. They dapped up. They're like, yo, what's good?
Is it one of those things where it's like a dap, but then you smack the backsides of the hand? Yeah, how'd they get a secret handshake already?
It seems like they've been knowing each other for a long time.
Are they homies though?
I didn't know if Trump was as cool with Kim Jong-un as Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. Yo, what's up with D-Rod? Yeah, he's cool.
He's all good.
Yeah, he'll come if you invite him.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like this guy's, there's a potential war with Iran. What are you responding to Megan Rapinoe on Twitter about?
Well, look, the only thing that I can make sense of is like the strategy for Trump is to he's like a what's the whack-a-mole game. He's like, oh, they talking shit about me. Bang, bang. Like I gotta get them all.
You get some.
Every single Twitter account, I gotta make sure.
There is also the thing of like, if he even mentions you, that sends his trolls at you.
So I mean, it's more than trolls. I mean, it's just straight up monsters.
Right, exactly. But like that sends the herd. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it was like, or the horde is probably what I wanted to say. But
Colin Cowherd is that?
Listen to the horde with Colin Cowherd. That's the whole show. When did he become a vampire, dude? So
we sort of experienced it with AOC, right? Remember when she retweeted the photo of us?
Remember when you got added? It's never been explained.
Yeah.
Haberman.
Maggie Haberman.
Haberman. She just
added me.
She just wrote something about Trump and then put,
she wrote something about Hillary, saying Hillary. The responsibility is not to call Trump a liar or something like that. Like the responsibility of reporters is not to call Trump a liar, like quote unquote liar. And then at the end of it, it's just at Chris Polanco, and I'm like, all right,
who? There's no reason for this.
There's literally no context.
She's never responded. She's never explained.
I replied to her. I'm like, yo, Maggie, dog, like don't.
You making it hot?
Not for me right now. Okay, I don't need all these eyes.
Yeah, I don't know why you put me in this joint, but also give me some background so I know how to deflect what's happening.
Okay, I ain't trying to get in the middle of this beef.
Yeah, be a better reporter, right, Polanco? And you're just sitting there eating a burger, looking up like, huh? I'm involved.
I don't need this.
But your mentions went, ballistic after that. You don't know why.
I have no idea why.
Still to this day unanswered.
And the tweet is still up. You can just search Maggie Haberman and Chris Polanco in Twitter, and it's still there. It makes no sense.
It's hilarious. Well, the same thing happened now to this Pino lady. Poor Pino.
Poor Pino. We all, we got love for you too, Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, hell yeah. But all the Megan Rapinos get love. But Megan Rapinoe, how do you respond, right? You can't go back at the president in a conference and stuff. You have to prove it on the field.
Yeah, well, what she did in the press conference before the game against France, she did the first thing she said, she was like, okay,
let's
everybody,
get this out of the way.
Let's get it out of the way. I stand by my statement.
I only feel bad for the expletive because my mom wouldn't be proud of that, which is dope.
Which is dope, all right? And I mean, imagine your mom, Alexis, with all the expletives you use, Yeah.
My mom has no idea how to download a podcast. Also doesn't support any of my art, so she wouldn't listen to it anyway.
So she at least doubling down, which you love to see it.
My mother restarted her old laptop,
Okay.
her old MacBook, while she was downloading something on her new MacBook because she thought you weren't allowed to do anything else while you're downloading something. She thought it would disturb it. So she went into a box,
Got it.
took out the old laptop, and turned it on.
Yeah.
That's the level of technology we're at.
Very Cuban mom.
Very cute.
Treats it like, well, if I'm cooking on the stove over here, I'm not gonna
put a pot on top of that one. You know what
I mean, we just get.
Yeah. Also, don't disturb him. He's doing homework. It's very much that. Like, no, hello. He's trying to study for a test. I'll go get the other kid. That's how she sees her laptop. So this person's not going to find a podcast.
Okay. Yeah. So
she's going to get a third laptop to listen to podcasts and carry it around the room.
But the response from Megan Rapinoe was great. But then today, we're recording this on Tuesday, on
just
July
before
2nd,
the game
just
against
before the
England.
game. There was an article in the Players Tribune from Sue Bird, who is Megan Rapinoe's girlfriend.
Right. You may know her from the WNBA.
Yes, exactly. Right. She plays for the Seattle. What's the team name for the? It's the
I wanna say
Storm.
Rain.
No, Rain is the soccer team. It's Storm, right? Seattle Storm. Okay, cool. I had a feeling. It's something weather related. You know, when it comes to anything Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, the Seattle drizzle is coming right at you. Yeah. The Tacoma overcast. They're good. You don't hear about them as much, but they are good.
So there was a great article from Sue Bird, and so this was a little bit of a shock to me because I did not know that Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were dating.
I did not know it either, but I found out because the title of the Players Tribune article, and I'm not making this up, is "So the President fucking hates my girlfriend,"
which is a great.
And it's a picture of the Rapinoe stance after she scored, the arms wide open stance.
A great title.
What a perfect.
It was great and very very thoughtful, very sweet, and very just talking about sort of like what we just spoke about, like the ridiculousness of having a high level politician reach out to you on social media or tag you on social media, which it makes your life seem so strange. You're all of a sudden all these people sort of know who you are.
It also feels like something that happens in other countries only. Like, Enes Kanter, who used to play for the Knicks, is not like allowed to leave the U.S.
Yes, because
the president of Turkey wants to kill him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's like a hit out. There's money on his head, and we all know this from a politician.
Yeah.
You expect these things to happen elsewhere, not in the U.S., where a politician is paying close attention and is battling with sports, like an athlete. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
shouts to Gabby Kirshner, by the way, who put shouts to all the all the MAGA people who were so offended that she didn't want to sing her national anthem. And doesn't want to go to the White House, that they're now rooting for another country. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what a turn of events.
Very American.
Yeah. Wow, you really love this country, yo. You're rooting for France.
So the article was great, and
check it out. Go to playerstribune.com.
Very like I said, very very thoughtful, but the main thing, the reason I was shocked because I did not know that Sue Bird was dating was Megan Rapinoe, and I've mentioned on the show I have a very big crush on Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I don't think you actually ever mentioned it on the show.
I think I did.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
No, you've just
wasn't it
revealed
when
that.
Soccer Girl Probs was here? Didn't I mention that?
You mentioned it to Shannon at the media day.
Oh,
You've never said it on the show. You just did now.
I did. I did now. I have a huge crush on Megan Rapinoe.
So add her to the list right below.
So now
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Well, I'm just saying that I don't know. I just feel even though the article was very very nice.
Yeah.
I just have a little bit of contention
Right.
with Sue Bird all of a sudden.
You have a broken heart.
Yeah. Didn't know I would gain a new enemy today. That's all.
Damn. Well, hopefully Sue Bird flies away.
Wow. You know what? Sometimes the jokes here, we try to bring some top shelf stuff.
Yeah, and every once in a while you get well, right? Maybe you can't afford the old top shelf. Yeah, I'll take 17 Roses whiskey. I'll take Alexis vodka. Sure.
So, but yes, the game against England is happening.
Uncle Murder brand tequila. Okay.
Have you ever seen Uncle Murder before?
Yes.
I've seen Uncle Murder. He was at a concert.
He's the best.
Once. There's like 4 people who know who Uncle Murder is.
He's Brownsville's finest, yo. He tweeted out, "Shouts to all the women who don't go to the club while they're on their period." And I was like, yeah, I got to unfollow this guy. This isn't what I want in my timeline to hit me in the face at noon.
Ooh, what a nuanced take from Uncle Murda.
I'm sorry, Uncle Murda.
Not murder. You don't use the
No.
ER. That would be offensive.
Yeah. Oh my God, no. That's not what he's talking about.
That's our word. Murder. Oh my God.
I was like, yeah, I can't follow Uncle Murda anymore.
It's getting out of hand. Okay. So let's also talk about the men's national team who did play. I think they played two.
Curacao. Well, that was the last game.
Last game was against Panama, which was
You heard a bunch of people talk about
boring
it.
ass game, and then another boring ass game.
But I gotta be honest. People are like, I can't believe they only beat Curacao 1-0. Curacao's not a bad team.
No, I'm not saying.
You're not saying
Yeah,
that.
I'm not saying that.
You
but
heard it here first, folks.
I'm not saying that Curacao was bad. I'm saying that the game was dull.
It was dull. It was
that's
terrible.
all.
But I listened to Total Soccer Show, which don't we have something coming up with Total Soccer Show?
Boo!
Yeah, my phone was broken. Only reason
No, we love those guys.
I handed my phone to a nerd and he pulled it out. My mother actually, I can hear her buying another laptop to listen to Total Soccer Show. So, whatchamacallit, I was listening to it. Don't we have an event coming up with them? I
We
feel
do,
like-
we do.
What is it?
It's July 13th at Audi Field, at the Audi Field.
No,
For real.
we're performing at Audi Field,
At Audi Field with Total Soccer Show and a bunch of DC United players.
the same field Lucho Acosta plays at.
Correct.
We're gonna be there.
Yes.
When is it?
July 13th at 4 p.m. Go to get
Oh.
tickets at soccercooligans.com/DC.
/DC. That's right. Soccercooligans.com/DC.
Glad I reminded you.
Yeah, all right. So I was listening to the guys that we're going to be doing that with. Cool. I can't believe I didn't know that. Total Soccer Show. And they were saying that it was frustrating to watch the U.S. men's national team sort of try to get Curacao to play long ball and them refusing to do it. And when you think of it that way, you're like, yeah, that's why the game was boring. It's like one team going, this will work. You know, it's like one boxer just constantly throwing a jab and the other guy blocking it. And you're going, well, all right, well, this is all I had planned for this whole thing. So I'm just going to keep trying. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Curaçao's not that bad. I was getting texts from people going, I can't believe you only beat them by 1. I mean, what did you want?
Yeah.
Curaçao's not that bad. They got players in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And also, here's a big secret. Not all of those folks that were playing there were born and raised in Curaçao. A lot of them are from Curaçao heritage that played for Curaçao. So they've been in academies. They've been on teams,
Exactly, yeah.
youth growing up. They're not just guys.
Curaçao is like a part of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So the players can pick either, I think, country to play for.
It's ridiculous.
If I'm saying that correctly.
I
Something along those lines.
I had no idea that was true until you said it right now.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So whatever. What are we doing?
They're all Dutch players. They're
Yeah.
all essentially from the Netherlands or have a Curaçaoan descent of some kind or something like that. So, but they're a good team. So it's nothing to be sort of ashamed of. And then the goal from Weston McKennie, which was great to see.
Perfect. And they hit the whoa.
That's right. And the assist.
Although Pulisic, not a good whoa-er. I'll tell you that.
You know what? I was mildly impressed. I didn't expect that kind of a quality whoa from him. And if you don't know what the whoa is, I guess I'm assuming not all of our listeners are caught up on all the latest hip hop dance trends.
Yeah, what is it? It's going back now probably 6-7 months.
Give or take. I don't know where exactly started.
It's in the South. It was like big in colleges.
Yeah,
It was like a big college
the
thing.
main if you watch the Old Town Road video when Lil Nas X is on the horse and then he bumps into a girl that starts dancing, the first move that she does is the whoa.
whoa.
She goes like that up and then boom, she hits him with the whoa. So, but the fact that Christian Pulisic was also participating, I'm like, all right, this is honestly the first thing I thought when I saw that. I'm like, this is why you have black friends, all right? This is why you have diversity in U.S. soccer so that you can have the white players dancing better.
So you can learn the whoa. You know what I mean? By the way, it started in Texas.
Okay.
Okay. A video of DJ Dangerous, who claimed to have invented the whoa in 2017. There's always one dude who you don't know. I invented the dab in 1957.
Where are my royalties?
Yeah. How dare Cam Newton and Paul Pogba be allowed to besmirch my sneezing technique.
So it was impressive. But the goal itself, the assist from Pulisic was great.
Perfectly placed. What else do you want?
Beat the defender.
Cuts back,
couple
cuts
step
back away
overs.
from goal.
You know what I love about not only that, I honestly think Eddie Johnson, right, played for the men's national team, and also
Please come on our podcast.
please, we've literally messaged you. We beg you. We would love for you to be on the show.
What else do we got to do, Eddie?
Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. But Eddie Johnson, I would love to watch a game with Eddie Johnson because while he's on Instagram or at least tweeting, he's like, yo, because Christian Pulisic has been training with Eddie Johnson during the offseason, and he's like, yo, I taught him that. I told him to do that. And he's like, you see, he's doing what I taught him.
Yeah. This is all me. He's like a dad who like a kid he didn't raise gets picked in the NBA draft, and he's like, we made it. Guess who's back? Like LeBron's dad trying to make a comeback. You know what I mean? What? You're welcome. Taught him how to do that. I left. That's why he does that fadeaway. That's all he saw of me as I left to go get cigarettes. You know what I mean?
But Eddie Johnson was mentioning that that Christian Pulisic was not really into the double step over. He was more into just doing the single and then making a sharp move. But in that particular
He did
play,
a double.
he did the double and then kind of froze the defender, crossed it, and Weston McKennie was there to put it in. And that connection felt very like, oh, this might be the future of the U.S. men's national team. Just seeing those two, that might be a strong partnership that we have to
the head
prioritize.
of Gully player development, Eddie Johnson.
Okay, U.S. Soccer added to
get it.
one of the positions. Speaking of that, did you see the? I wish I had it in front of me, but we didn't plan to talk about this. The reviews of employees at U.S. Soccer from a Glassdoor. Did you hear about this?
No.
So Glassdoor.
I know what Glassdoor is. That's where people post like when they don't like the company they work for.
Exactly. So there's one that exists. There's a section for U.S. Soccer. Yo, and they trash U.S. Soccer
really
hard. Yeah, because talking about like the amount of hours. Also, let me just preface this that all of these reviews are anonymous.
They're
so
unsubstantiated.
Yeah, so you don't know. Anybody can pretty much write them, so you don't know. But based on some of them that I read, I mean, it sounds pretty specific about U.S. Soccer and things that are involved in the job. So you take it with a grain of salt, but it's but if what they say are true, it's just like the amount of hours that you have to work that are like you're not really getting paid extra. Just the lack of any kind of upward mobility in the job. They don't really give promotions. It's not U.S. Soccer. How many employees does U.S. Soccer even have? It can't even be that many.
It's got to be pretty big.
I don't think so.
But not big enough where like they don't know who posted that. They're like, and he ate my turkey sandwich. Like, damn it, Steve.
Just tell me. Just tell me, Steve.
Just looks up over the cubicle. Steve, huh? I'm sorry about the sandwich already. You gotta go on Glassdoor.
So but it was interesting at the very least to hear about how somewhat, I don't want to say necessarily dysfunctional it is, but it sort of look. I'll say this: I don't think any federation runs smoothly. It's like if you work in soccer, it's a very unconventional job. The hours are weird. The games are strange times, and all this stuff. So it's a very demanding job in a different way.
Everybody who works for soccer in general, they're like you can see it in their eyes. They're like constant. They're burning the candle on both ends. Yeah. They have to do a regular job, and then they have all this extra stuff like game days and all this extra stuff. And, the news travels so quickly. Things change every second. It's a tough gig to work in. Exactly. Shouts to everybody that works in soccer.
Exactly, yeah. We met.
Like us. We work in soccer.
We're burning the candle at both ends. You know how it is.
Once a week.
No, but even, and I'll say that, like, and we've met a lot of people that work for teams and all over the country. And it's a very difficult job. People have to like take shifts to cover games or live tweet or whatever. We do the same thing.
They miss family events, it's tough.
It's almost as difficult as being a player on the actual team.
You got to call your sister. Could you get married in the off season, please?
And just make sure there's no MLS draft or the combine.
Oh, I'm sorry, the U.S. Open Cup.
I got something big. I'm sorry.
I can't go to Nan's funeral.
So it is a
tell Pop I love them. Can't we have a combine?
I gotta go watch the Oklahoma Energy.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
But we love you, Oklahoma
Yeah.
Energy. No shade there.
Just had to pick a team.
So, well, I didn't even know what the next thing I was going to bring up. I was talking about U.S. soccer. Oh, we were talking about the men's national team.
Yeah.
And so the next game will be against Jamaica.
Jamaica.
And we're in the kids there. I mean, it seems like we're supporting them.
Shouts to Jamaica. I hope you look this good losing to the men's national team.
I think this is going to be the first. Look, the first very much a real test in the Gold Cup. The U.S. did lose to Jamaica in that friendly off the 1-0 off of that golazo. I forgot who scored it, but
Kenmar Lawrence, right?
no,
free kick.
It wasn't Kamar. No. It wasn't a free kick. It was just.
Oh, I know what you're talking
amazing
about.
goal. I just forgot who it was because they don't have their names on the back of their shirts.
It's too confusing.
If they said Gully or Gulliest on it, I'd be like, oh,
We
okay.
know.
Now we know who it is.
Oh, Gully 4 is doing amazing. Oh, Wild Gully 7 is just very impressive.
Well done. So, but this will be the biggest test. I think the U.S. has a very, very real shot in losing this game. I think they are the underdogs to me.
I'm interested to see how Greg Berhalter sort of structures the team for this game. Because I agree with you. It's a tough guy. It's going to be a hell of a competition.
And I feel like every time Kamar Lawrence plays against the U.S., he's like, because he's played in MLS for a long time. He knows a lot of the dudes. He's playing against his teammate Aaron Long. He plays, he plays with a lot of energy, and he wants to beat the U.S. They lost in the final in the last Gold Cup against the U.S., and he doesn't want to deal with that again. So
yeah, no, he wants to win. And shouts to Haiti, by the way.
Haiti is
Out
another
of nowhere.
Gold Cup, and I'll just preface this. As a Dominican person, nothing makes me happier than seeing Haiti just absolutely thrive.
Lose.
No. Thrive. It's absolutely beautiful.
This is why your people kicked them out of your country, right? So that they could play for their national team.
Yes, that was the plan the entire time. The xenophobia, the racism.
Yeah, it's all there, but it helps in the
You know
end.
what? You think it's just general intolerance, but there was a plan in place.
This is part of the academy development process. No, shouts to Haiti, man. They're doing absolutely incredible.
It's incredible. And, I've spoken about this before. The way Haitians are treated, especially in the Dominican Republic, is absolutely disgusting. I hate seeing it. And,
we won't stand for it.
It's something that I think should be talked about more because it is pretty terrible. Anyway. But
that said, shouts to them.
Haiti did defeat Canada 3-2 in an amazing game. They were comeback. They were down 2-0 and then come back.
A stunner.
Yeah. It was incredible. You do not expect. Haiti was, I think they finished, I believe, first in the Nations League rankings, and amongst the other Caribbean teams. Of course, you would understand them being right, but they are making some noise about the future of CONCACAF.
Also, Canada looked amazing. Canada's front 3 or 4. They have like 4 players that are attacking that are absolutely out of this
It was
world.
Jonathan David, I think, who scored the first goal.
I think he has over one goal per match.
And he's interesting. He's actually Haitian. He's of Haitian descent.
That's why he didn't celebrate.
From Brooklyn, Haitian parents from Brooklyn. So he was raised in Canada, and he didn't celebrate during the after his goal. That was great too.
How incredible is that?
It's just a great story. But I felt kind of bad for Alphonso Davies after the game. He was just like hurt. You could tell.
He sat there sad.
Yeah,
crying,
that was a game Canada should win, but
that free kick of his going off the crossbar was just shocking. That thing was what a pinpoint. And I will say this, you could see his level of talent. What is he, 19, 20 years old? He's leaps and bounds above everyone else on that field. It's wild. Just the touches he takes, the movements he makes. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He's going to be a player to reckon with in the future. And hopefully Canada can pick up some other, players that sort of build around them for their national team. But Haiti looking on fire. Yeah.
I think a big shock to Canada. Mm-hmm. In 1 week, they lost in the Women's World Cup and they end in the Gold Cup when they should have won. They should have won the game. I mean, there's no on paper you win that game, but Haiti is playing with a level of confidence that we're not used to seeing, especially from Caribbean teams.
Yeah, man.
The game against so next up it's going to be Haiti against Mexico, and then the U.S. against Jamaica, and then obviously those are the semifinals. Entertaining games. So
I have a feeling it'll be U.S. Mexico, and that'll be an entertaining final. but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Mexico also went to penalties with Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
And
Guillermo Ochoa.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Wow.
Yeah, but the I don't know, the certainty that we had of Mexico just like running through this is looking a little different. I mean, think Haiti's going to give them some trouble.
Sure, I don't think Haiti's going to win, but they will give them trouble. This is just a great positive story for Haiti. Hopefully they do continue to win, but yeah, I think Mexico's going to take them out pretty easily.
Okay, so let's go through a couple MLS games that were pretty entertaining and pretty wild. The Cali Clásico happened. San Jose Earthquakes win 3-0 with the Zlatan on the pitch. That is not.
But he was in Flo Youngworth's pocket the whole game.
He was getting taken care of.
Wow. Flo Youngworth's like, yeah, I sound like a rapper and an aristocrat at the same time.
So they win 3-0, and then 2 goals from Shea Salinas, and then 1 goal.
Ripping the shirt off.
I know, but he does that for a couple of these Clásicos. I think he did it last year or 2 years ago.
He loves scoring against the Galaxy.
Shea Salinas is like this another dude. Like, I see his name, and I'm like, Shea Salinas got a brace. I'm like, aren't you old?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, aren't you? You're
Didn't
old.
he score the first goal in MLS history? Right? Shea Salinas sounds like a name like, yeah, I remember him.
Oh, yeah.
My grandfather had his jersey.
But no, he's like 32 or something. No.
Shea Stadium Salinas. I remember him.
No, so that was just sort of a shock. And then Tommy Thompson, did he get credited with the goal? It was a deflection. So
it should count if you ram it off some dude's chest into the goal. It should count.
Sure. It seems like a pool like trick shot, you know? Yeah. So or like a bocce ball or something, you know?
He called corner pocket. I mean, it's only fair.
Corner pocket, collapsed lung.
Yeah,
I think this is a good one.
3 broken ribs, nothing but net.
So after this, the game, I think Zlatan's comments were very much, like he kind of did the thing of, this doesn't really matter. The playoffs are what's important. I'm like, okay.
When someone loses, I didn't want to win anyway. There's other stuff happening.
It's a little childish, I thought.
No. Zlatan Ibrahimovic be childish? Get out of town.
So, but no, impressive. And then again, San Jose has just done this complete turnaround, especially from the last few seasons.
They didn't even sign anybody, man. Mateus Almeida's like, I'm gonna break every one of these dudes like a horse.
So they're playing incredibly well and incredibly entertaining. And I'm gonna have to credit Tommy Thompson's revitalized career on the fact that he's learning Spanish. He's on Duolingo, and I think that's given him. He's playing soccer with some Latin confidence. That's really must be what it is. That's all he was missing from his game.
It's like when you ask a girl to dance a little salsa at the party and you body it, you know what I mean? Because you've been practicing. That's how they're walking around right now. They're like, well, I mean, come on, sometimes you just have to prepare a little
harder.
Couple
salsa lessons. I don't know. Your team might move up in the table.
I know. Oh my God, I don't know why. I'm wearing a soccer jersey, but the buttons are unbuttoned. It's a soccer jersey. It's not even supposed to have buttons on it.
Where did all this chest hair come from?
This is new. I don't know why I'm holding an acoustic guitar. You tell me. I'm trying to play soccer.
But exciting to see. It was a good game. Another one that happened midweek was Toronto hosting Atlanta United. They went 3-2, and there was a lot of controversy in this game.
Pozuelo's haircut? Was that the controversy?
There was outrage on the internet.
Just bleach blonde. He went all full bleach blonde.
Sure. I mean, it's been a common. Nico Lodero.
Everybody's doing it.
Maxi Morales is doing the top.
Yeah.
It's everybody's going through a bad breakup.
Yeah. Well, Pozuelo was asked why, and he said he wants Giazzi Sardes' grandmother to be able to pick him out while watching the game.
Very important. It's crucial.
She's hard to.
She watches all the games. So.
She's a big MLS fan. She wants to know who on each team.
She's still wondering why her MLS Live is not working.
Yeah. She's like, I pay for this.
Anyway.
She's like, maybe you a DP. You can't get me.
So the goal, so actually the penalty that was the more controversial one, the phantom penalty, which was like, it reminded me of Larry Johnson's 4-point play,
Where he was 100% fouled viciously.
I agree. He was also very much fouled. As a Knicks fan, right? Flo Pogba, I don't know if we cursed him or gave
Flo Young Pogba.
if it wasn't a foul. I don't know what was conclusive about the.
You figure someone who has a bobblehead would get that call. You know what I mean? Like
That's
you get the Kobe, the Jordan rules.
Pogba rules. You got to introduce them. So that led to a penalty, and then late in the game, another, I believe, was a handball, right? If I'm not mistaken.
From De Leon.
Yep,
and Pity Martinez, best player in South America,
South American Player of the Year,
just steps up and is like, I ain't even gotta focus. Okay.
Yeah, that was South America.
What I love about this, right before he takes the kick, I just thought to myself, I'm like, man, everyone already congratulated each other. The game whistle was blown. The final whistle was blown.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's good. Now he's got to do this. He's probably relaxing. Ball goes over the crossbar.
You've been hanging out with Messi too much, dog.
Skied it, my guy.
What are you doing? Unfortunate. And nobody else, wants to see PT succeed more than we do, right? He was a big signing. Was he the most expensive player, or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. So, of course, it would be nice for the entire league if PT's doing well.
Or just for Atlanta, every time they sign somebody, it takes them a little while to get going after
he has been a divisive figure amongst the fans because some people are like, give him time. And then some people are like, what the hell is he doing? Get him out of here.
How much time does he need? And I love the fans that are like, well, if you look at his expected goals ratio, it's like you can't.
Get that math out of my face, dog.
With that much money, I should not have to look at a spreadsheet to figure out if you're good or not, my guy. You know what I mean?
He should pass the eye test, and then from game to game, and then in the following game, he was taken out, and Frank de Boer was just like, he was making too many mistakes, and it makes it seem like, Atlanta seems like the hot city, the hot ticket to be at, the best team and most exciting,
massive fan
all
base,
this money,
the whole nine.
And it's like maybe there's something mentally kind of in his way that won't allow him to be like comfortable.
This is the first time he's eaten something other than grilled steak. He's getting all that good Atlanta Southern food.
Is that what it is? He's just too many carbs.
He's like, oh my god. Wait, you take chicken and do what with it? I need to try this. I've been eating skirt steak 7 times a day.
Atlanta United is a bad influence.
Yeah. The gravy is weighing him down. That's the problem. Meanwhile, Julian Gressel continuing to shine. He's used to that. He's like, oh, schnitzel? I was raised on that milk. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I call it milk.
Yeah. That's what I got in my formula. It was nothing but sausage gravy. We called it kielbasa gravy.
So, yes, unfortunate, but they ended up winning their next game. I think it was like 2-1 or something like that. But it'd be nice if he does well, and maybe he'll get a bobblehead someday.
Who's doing better, you think? Mateus Almeida or Frank de Boer? De Boer.
It has to be Almeida for the turnaround.
Did you think
De Boer had a good team already?
Did you think that would be the case at the beginning of the season?
No, not at all.
Not one bit.
In the beginning, we thought Frank de Boer was not going to last too long, right? Because how many games was he fired at when he was like at Crystal Palace? And I think he lasted like 10 games or 12 games.
Yeah, he didn't last half a season.
I mean, it would have been insane if that happened here as well. But it's nice to see that there is that level of.
If he does get fired, he could be the coach of the Oklahoma Energy, baby. Oklahoma Energy, get your tickets now, please.
They're a pretty good USL
they
team,
are
man.
great. I don't know why we're shitting on them.
They get love.
Oxnard Guerreros.
I forgot the point I was gonna make. But,
of course.
You would say you were comparing the two. Mateus Almeida, that is.
It's a full turnaround.
Yeah, you got to give him more credit because he had less to work with, and you'd almost be. It almost looks worse for De Boer, given that he had so many good pieces and couldn't really it took a while to figure things out. So. Okay, so let's take a break, and what we're gonna do is we'll bring on our guest, and then after our guest, or what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the women's national team after this segment, or after the?
No, after the. after our esteemed guest.
Okay, so we'll
Let's do the interview first.
Okay,
I'm glad
cool.
we handle this on the podcast.
It's very important. You
While
see,
we're recording.
you guys get to see how it works. Okay.
Also, awesome that we're wearing the shirts of the team that the men's national team is going to play against. I mean, we're doing it all today, boys. Yeah, hell yeah.
Make everybody.
Once again, we're up for sale, okay? You want us to talk about your product? Give us money. Visit NorthKorea.com. We will happily get sponsored by VisitNorthKorea.com.
I mean, look.
To the glorious leader, Kim Jong-un, I say.
Okay, our president had met with him, and so it's all good.
Yeah.
He's done nothing wrong ever.
No. Consider this show a demilitarized zone if you want to give us money.
All right, so we'll be right back with Bobby Wasrhaw after this.
Yeah, baby, we're back!
Yes, and how thrilled am I?
Wow. What an honor.
It is very much an honor. It's always, we've had a couple of the Major League Soccer folks come in here. And,
at this point now, we've had every host of Extra Time.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Yeah. Have we ever been on Extra Time? No, we haven't.
We have not.
No. Has it ever even been suggested that we've been? No, absolutely not. No.
Oh, no.
Right away. Right. I haven't even mentioned this person's name yet, and I'm making them uncomfortable.
It's totally fine.
Welcome to the Cooligans, folks.
But
Neil is blushing. I can see it from here.
We are absolutely thrilled to have this gentleman on our show. Please introduce him, Alexis.
MLS legend. MLS front office legend now. Writer of your favorite soccer book that I've asked Christian to read the cliff notes to me of. One of my favorite people I've ever gotten to meet in the soccer world, and
came to our birthday
party.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, unless you're driving, you know what, and even if you are, pull over so you can put your hands together for the one, the only, Bobby Wasrhaw, everybody!
Bobby, what's up, man?
Is that because I bought you the first round?
Absolutely. And which led to me apparently being so drunk, I don't remember a lot of what those Instagram stories suggested I did and said, wow.
Yeah, Instagram stories for Alexis are like the movie Memento.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Oh, my God. You know, what was that movie where Adam Sandler was a 50-50 first dates or whatever, 500, where he had to keep playing the girl lost her memory?
Yeah.
That's what Instagram stories are for me. Like, oh, my God, that's what I do for a living?
Have you guys done a deep dive into Adam Sandler's career yet?
No, we haven't.
We haven't. I mean,
Not
That's
even
a show topic.
As a fan, I'm sure it is.
So before we...
He's a Tigres fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, Rob Schneider made him a Tigres fan. Did you know Rob Schneider's like the mascot of Tigres?
No.
You didn't know this?
There's some things I just don't believe in this world, and Adam Sandler being a Liga MX fan is one of them.
Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler have been to multiple Tigres matches.
That's interesting. I'm gonna Google this very quickly. But before I do that, I do want to ask
him and Ben Bear.
Go to the games
Okay,
together.
look this is a photo of Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler in Tigres jerseys. So, okay, look, it's only been about 60.
Adam Sandler looks like he doesn't even know what jersey he has on.
That's just how he always looks.
You know, it's been about 60 to 80 seconds of this show, this interview, and we've already proved Bobby Wasrhaw wrong.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Feels pretty good. I gotta say.
What did I tell you? We're not going to let Bobby and Warshaw get away with this whole contrarian thing. We're going to Google everything. We're going to call them out. None of these mystical questions.
One thing I do. So I did read your book. I've been reading it for the last, 8 to 12 months. It takes a long time for me to read. No, I read the book. It's so good. And one thing that kind of permeates throughout the book is the level of intensity that Bobby Wasrhaw has. And before we talk about soccer, I do want to talk about a story that Alexis told me a couple months ago when you went to a comedy show of his. Mm-hmm. Correct, right?
Yes.
And
came out New York Comedy Club. It was amazing.
Really cool. Thank you for supporting, our comedy, which is very nice, right? But after your set,
began the psychological warfare.
So I just want to ask about that and get your side of it, because Alexis said, like, wow, he was like pretty intense talking about my comedy and like maybe
very complimentary.
Complimentary
in a good way. But then as he leaves, he drops a Jose Mourinho-esque.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought you were going to go this other way with a joke.
I've thought a lot about this. Okay,
So have I.
So for one, we're talking about just the comedy set. I'm super fascinated by the mechanics of things, right? Like you guys are up here. we do.
I thought you were
soccer.
fascinated by the Mechanicsburg of things,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Boom.
my guy.
Hometown shout out.
So I'm just fascinated by the mechanics of things, right? Even our job. People think we just come up here and put a mic in front of us and talk about soccer. There are mechanics to doing the job well. Same with comedy. How do you sell a joke? So I'm fascinated by that. Giving you feedback, I feel like in our profession, we're all independent contractors, whatever you want to call it, small business owners. No one ever gives us feedback about anything. A lot of people say, do your bosses, zero feedback, right? I'm sure you guys are the same way.
I
Same
do
way.
not believe Greg Lawless bites his tongue in any situation.
There's just so much going on. So for
Yeah, that's
you,
true.
as a friend, I see you do something you care about, and I probably gave it in the wrong way since I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, you know what it is that you were like, hey, I'm not sure. It was a joke. I don't remember, but at one point in the joke, I thought you were going to go this way, which would have gotten a big pop, but you went this way. And now I'm left to dissect my entire set and try to figure out, wait, what is Bobby Wasrhaw?
I couldn't even remember what the specific joke was. That was the best part.
This is driving me nuts again. Imagine you go to your, the men's national team coach comes out to, who was Bruce Arena when you were playing, right?
Yeah.
He comes
no,
out
Bob.
to...
It was Bob.
Bob Bradley comes out to see you play, and he's like, hey, man, that was great. I'm glad I got to see you. Hey, I thought you were going to do this one thing on the field at that 1 minute, but then you went a different way. Would have been great if you did the other thing. Now you're like, well, then toss everything out I've ever done. I need to figure out how to get on this men's national team. That's essentially what you did. Which, by the way, all well-spirited, all well-meaning.
Nothing,
it was dope.
none of this negative. but-
Honored. But when you left, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to pull all my hair out
But you
tonight.
crushed it, dude. The show was awesome.
Thank
If people
you.
are in New York, they have to go see it.
Yeah, so that was the thing. So when he told me that, I was like, oh yeah, that's how Bobby is.
Yeah, that's Bobby.
That's what Bobby does.
Bobby doesn't just get in the heads of other players on the other team. He also does the comedians. I was in his pocket. I was like, where do I go? Where do you want me to go?
It's
I
just
was holding his
amazing.
little pocket.
He's that competitive. Where
Yeah.
He's trying to get win in every sort of scenario.
I was like, I don't know how I would have played against this guy. He's just that good.
So yes, I do want to talk about the book and
How long has it been since it's been out, by the way? 3 years now?
It's about 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August.
2
okay.
years.
So one thing that was interesting, especially at the end of the book, at the epilogue, you were very. This is why, and as comedians, this is where the vulnerability and the sincerity, where I'm like, I want to give you props because you're much more maybe self-aware than I think casual Bobby Wasrhaw viewers sort of understand. Where you were like, writing this book was a nightmare. This was really hard for me, and interviewing people and talking about my past and figuring all this stuff out was made me more introspective than I necessarily wanted to be, and it was difficult and challenging to do. So I guess the first question would be, why did you do it to begin with?
So I think there's two answers to that. One answer is I think I needed to apologize, maybe to the world, maybe to myself, for all of the things that I had done. Because you get through the book, and one of the takeaways is you have to. My competitive advantage is I could hold my teammates accountable. I could perform at a certain level every single day. That often meant being mean to teammates. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to do in a soccer sense. When you step back and you say from a human perspective,
not mean in the sense of like you're kicking people's food out of it. Like you had to be like forward, direct.
correct. You're not
Right.
good enough today. Your work rate, your intensity, you didn't show up on time. All of those things took a toll on my soul, saying, this is the right decision in soccer. Is this a type of human being that I want to be? So I think I had to apologize. But two, it just gave me something to do. You hear about all these professional athletes retiring and being lost. This gave me a purposeful project when I was done playing.
What is that? What I don't know. You've probably answered this multiple times, but the mindset of an MLS player is very different than the mindset of players in other countries. Especially the era you were playing in. When you were nearing your retirement, what went through your head as you were getting ready to leave the league? Because we've gotten to the point now in the last about 3.5 years where we've been able to communicate with a lot of players, and some of them will just be very honest with us and be like, yeah, man, I got to get my real estate license when I'm done, or I got to go do this. And for us, it's like just shocking to hear, like, God damn, man, you're doing so amazing. You play for the national team. It's amazing that you have to now go start another career. You know what I mean?
And we would talk about this while we were playing, making $55,000, while our friends were maybe not making more, but on their way to making more. We were very aware that we would have to start over at some point and start from scratch. And it was scary.
What went through your head? What were you contemplating? Because you found your way, and I know you don't like to hear this, but you're essentially an entertainer now. You're essentially in the soccer media.
Yeah.
But you're not a journalist, so to speak, right? You do
I
write
would
for
not
MLS
use
soccer.
the J word. No, I would not use the J word.
So
no.
you're to some degree you're you're an entertainer. Like
Yeah.
you and I had a conversation at our birthday party where I was like, no, what you do, like, even if people hate what you're saying, that's positive. And you were like, no, people tell me that all the time, and it's weird to hear that. But it is, like, you know,
It's an interesting week to bring that up, too.
Really?
It's an interesting week to
Oh, we're
bring
gonna
that
talk
up.
about it.
Oh, we're talking about it. But, like, all right, people who hated Howard Stern listen for 2 hours. People who loved him listen for 1 hour.
Right.
So to some degree, getting any type
Yeah.
of reaction is a positive in your field. What made you want to go into this? Like, were you going to go take a Series 7 test? And you're like, I can't be that guy, even though you dress like that guy. You just didn't want to be that guy.
So my last year of playing was essentially, I was done, man. After what happened to me in Norway, I loved a club. My heart got broken. I was done. I was over it. I said, the struggle that this career is, this profession, is not worth it to me anymore. I came back to USL in Harrisburg as a transition year. I studied for the GMAT. I was going to go to business school. I studied all year. I applied. And then this job came up where they asked me to come to New York because I was local, do some videos, do some writing. I didn't suck. I wouldn't say I was good. I wouldn't say I'm good now, but I didn't suck enough to get another opportunity. And then they, got the studio. They needed more people. So it was never planned. I never weaseled my way into it. It was one thing led to the next. They needed someone who could do the job for a certain price point. I was single. I could move to New York, and it all just worked out.
You know what, and I humble is something that is surprising to hear from you, because you seem like someone who carries yourself so strongly on the field and stuff. But you've done this a couple times when we've talked. You'd be like, I just didn't suck. Dude, it may be hard for you to understand, but you are great at what you do.
Thanks. That feels weird. That feels weird. Part of the job, and I think people out there, and we can probably get into this, people out there think I'm a certain thing. That's the job, right? You have to say something in a certain way in order to get people to listen with more energy, with more volume, with more directness.
Your cadence is important. All of those things are
That
important.
is the craft of this profession. So even though I sound like I undoubtedly think that this should happen on a soccer field, that's the craft of doing it. And then we can talk and be like, honestly, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Well,
You've got charts behind you. You've printed up. And
Yeah.
you're like, I really don't have no clue.
Not that you guys would look at them. We've already established that.
But it's like when your parents speak in this authoritative way, and then you get older and you're like, they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
They didn't know a thing.
But it's tough in the world of soccer, because it's one of those sports where it's not just the numbers. You know what I mean? There's so much that goes into it. So I love one of the things I love the most is the back and forth between you and Matt Doyle. Talk a little bit about how that feels to be sort of in this room and watch David Goss and Andrew Weeby just be sort of confused as to what's happening, getting to watch a tennis match.
Yeah. I think people know that Doyle is good. I don't think they know how good he is, the ability that his brain has to synthesize information, just a ton of information into a coherent way for himself. And then the way he distributes that, not just his writing ability, which may be in the top 2 or 3 in American sports, his ability to use prose, but to explain things. I mean, with that said, I think I very much disagree with a lot of his assessments on soccer.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I'm right or he's wrong. It's just we would go about coaching, about running things, about evaluating in a different way. And it's all genuine. The thing I get so often is the fact that we manufacture ideas, we manufacture statements. We legitimately just see things differently. Sometimes we agree, but for the most part, we would go about the sport differently. And it's fun trying to show we're right, but also hopefully move somewhere that's a little closer to the truth for both of us.
And one of the disagreements that came up recently during I think it was a post game, right? Or
I actually don't even know.
okay, so it's on the internet, so it's definitely in video form.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of heat after making a statement. I don't have the statement in front of me. Maybe you can repeat yourself about Christian Pulisic and implying or suggesting that he hasn't done enough to
Use the right words.
In your opinion,
Warren and auto start.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you. That is the best way to put it. I should have consulted you before.
Text me,
the
my
show.
guy.
Be like, hold on, Doyle. I gotta double check, bro.
Yeah, I'm
I
going to
gotta
pull
double
in an
check.
expert. Alexis Guerrero's laughter consumes the stage.
Yeah, that's been something.
Yeah.
That's been something.
I know that on Extra Time you talked about it a little bit as well. But what is because obviously just like maybe on paper that statement seems fucking insane, right?
I gotta be honest, it seems fucking insane on paper, on my screen, coming out of your mouth.
Because as you know, as maybe laymen's of watching U.S. soccer and watching the men's national team, to me it seems very clear that Christian Pulisic is, to me, the best player, but also the most sort of skilled and confident while playing.
Yeah.
That's my take, but maybe there's something I'm missing.
He's also played for 3 coaches, and he's 20 years old in the men's national team alone.
Let's talk about the mechanics of what happened, though. Everyone says that was a hot take. You're doing this for clicks. it was part of 60 minutes of content, and I couldn't even tell you if it was from the pregame show or the postgame show. Like, this isn't something that I plan to say. It's something I believe, right? I wouldn't say it if I didn't have plenty of mental evidence to support it. It's not something I've worked through. But the idea that I threw it out there for my own personal brand or that I got clicks for the first of all, I don't get there. Like, those clicks don't count for me.
Yeah, well, we're not implying that. Hopefully, I guess that must have been the general.
We're asking you about it so we get the clicks.
No, right? Of course. Yeah, so I would say that part hurts. I wish it didn't. I wish I had thicker skin. I wish that I could go with Alex and say, anybody talking about it is good. It hurts when people think that I manufacture it to be, I don't know, contrarian or prerogative. Yeah,
provocative.
My opinion is
maybe it's this side of the table because that happens to me all the time.
So in terms of his position with the national team, it's not that he shouldn't start. It's not that he's probably not the best player. I think there's a legit conversation about him and Tyler Adams. It's the fact that if you go back through the last 9 games, and yes, he scores goals, but you can also go through plenty of players, and we can talk about the curse of the 10, which is a longer conversation. There's plenty of players who score goals that aren't playing their best or necessarily help the team. And I'm not going to argue Christian Pulisic hurts the team, but this idea that he has played well, I think, is wrong. I think it's been 9 straight games since Christian Pulisic has not just played to his level, but full-on played well back into that Trinidad and Tobago game in 2017 to Ecuador and Chile and England and Italy and all these games. So the obvious point is who takes his spot? Nobody. Christian Pulisic should start. This is the second part of the conversation.
I actually disagree. I don't think that's the easy point. I think the easy point is that you're expecting someone who's 20 years old to play to the potential that we all expect, not realizing this is part of that rise to that potential.
Playing poorly for 9 straight games?
Poorly or just not to your expected level?
Which is subjective. No, you're exactly right. And there's definitely extraneous variables, right? The different
If an
coaches.
MLS kid played that to the level he's played for the last 9 games, we'd be saying, oh my God, how's he only playing in MLS? He should be playing in Europe. But because you see this kid get sold for $73 million, you're saying, I expect more. You're not wrong, but this is the escalator to that.
I think that I think I generally subjectively disagree about his performances. He has moments that are phenomenal. That moment against Curacao, phenomenal, right? Only he can do that on this team, beating a player, serving that ball. But if you watch the general flow of his performances, I'm not sure he's been the best player on the field for the U.S. Maybe he has, and that's largely because of where the player pool is at. But I also don't mind sitting here and saying, if you watch the 90 minutes, I'm not sure that he has performed that well. Beyond the question of, is it enough for him to perform better than everyone else if he's not performing to his own ability, and how you help him get there?
Yeah, I think this is the process for him to be getting better. We're going to see his peak at 27. I think it's unfair to suggest that over the last 9 games we should have seen, FIFA meter at 100 across the board.
So when is it fair? When is it fair to say a player should be playing well on a consistent basis?
I think that when they stop performing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what his potential will be until we see it drop, and we're like, oh, the player he was at his best a year ago. That kind of thing.
I guess from what I take from what you're saying, it sort of sounds like from individual ability, he has skill there, and he shows some real promise and consistency, but when it comes to maybe fitting in with the team and his ability, are maybe he's not being used appropriately, or maybe he doesn't fit in with the team as well as you would like him to.
So I would say Zlatan is his ability doesn't fit in with the team.
Okay.
Right? You also have to remember, in this conversation, I'm full on Zlatan does not help the LA Galaxy, right? That's not Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic is not holding the team down, but I guess my point is not mutually exclusive to say he is way more talented than everyone else in the field, but also there's a question on whether the team as a whole functions better with him on the field. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And I'm definitely not saying Christian Pulisic weighs this team down. I just think you're simplifying the conversation if you're, as a coaching staff, not having that amongst yourself in your weekly meetings.
I think that's
daily
fair.
meetings.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think the other point is also we got to give Greggy Ball, to quote Total Soccer Show, let's give this system a bit more time before we start to decide who can or can't fit into it, especially the starlet of our system.
But he should start. I was never saying he shouldn't start, right? It was more a statement about his consistency of play.
Okay. That's fair. So we did have a question from Mike Thomas, a Gully Squad member. He did ask.
Shouts to Gully Squad.
He did ask about Bobby Wasrhaw. He says, does he hate Christian Pulisic because he's jealous about Hershey being the superior central Pennsylvania town? Is he sad that it has way more roller coasters and chocolate than Mechanicsburg?
Wow. Wow.
We're getting to the meat of this.
I just want to say, in the Keystone Division of the Mid-Penn Conference, I happen to go 6-1 against Hershey. That's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
Also, why'd you even say it? You know all our fans know that information.
The other thing to point, his dad was my favorite player growing up, too. His dad, Mark Pulisic, for the Harrisburg Heat. We used to go to the Farm Show Arena in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Mark Pulisic with his mullet was my favorite player.
Amazing.
Wow.
They called him Mullet Mark.
Yeah. Was his dad an auto start? You want to get into that?
So one thing that's interesting, and even you talking about the U.S. Soccer's coaching staff, U.S. men's national team coaching staff, and there is in your book there is a lot of there are a lot of stories of you sort of getting into it with coaching staffs, right? You have a history, and I could see why maybe and
because he thinks he could do a better job. Is that what you can say? Come on,
I mean,
act like that's not act like that's not a part of the.
I don't want to. I'm basing it off of what off of his words, right?
Right.
And there's a couple things I want to know about, but especially your time in Dallas and the coach
Shellis
Hyndman, right? So there was
You tried to break Shellis Hyndman.
what a this.
He just got it, by the way.
Anyway.
How often does this happen?
All the time.
Like, how often does he say something and you laugh for 5 seconds to let it click, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, that was good."
Most of it is him upset about what the emails we're gonna get.
Somebody has to keep the show going. This has been sort of a part of your history, right? And the way you talk to people in authority seems to be, when you were talking earlier, it made me think like, man, Bobby could be a coach, right? Like you sound incredibly like a leader, right? And that was definitely the character trait that I think you were given by a lot of the clubs that you played for. But what is that balance of like that leadership and then thinking like, did you go too far? Did it reach a level of arrogance where it could have hurt the team? You know what I mean? Like, so how did you sort of handle and balance those things?
Well, just to answer the Dallas question, right? I was the whipping boy for 2.5 years, right? It's not like I would challenge the coach on a daily basis. This was him being verbally and emotionally abusive, probably not beyond what other coaches do, but beyond what was appropriate for that Dallas team. And I wasn't the only one that felt that way.
Okay.
So I took it for two years and change, right? Until I was finally said, and this wasn't me chirping back. This was me just one time standing up and saying, no, like, bro, this is is too much. Everyone feels this way. I'm going to be the one to say it because I have nothing to lose. You're not playing me anyway, right? You're being abusive. I'm not going to take this anymore. And he didn't like that. He sent me down to Luchi Gonzalez's U16 team. I wasn't allowed to be around the first team. He was like, you're not even allowed to hang out with them.
Also, how old was Luchi Gonzalez back then?
Would have
Like
been
22?
He was young, man. He was just older than he was probably 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kid's been in the game for a minute, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it wasn't that I had been a disgruntled player for him or that I was a nuisance. It was
You weren't a locker room cancer. You were just like,
I was a great locker room guy. That's why they kept me around, right? He didn't think I was good at soccer. I was a great training guy. I was a great locker room guy, a great leader. And he would always use me to be the one to set the example, and I took it, and then I didn't. In Norway and Sweden, I mean, I gave it a year, right? I played for these guys for a while, and then you have to ask yourself, I guess you guys haven't had bosses for a while, but if you know that your boss is sinking the ship, is it better for you to go down with the ship as a good soldier, or should you stick up for it? Which makes you feel better in your heart? And it's something I struggled with on a daily basis because when you're a player on a team, when your coach is killing you, right? You know when your coach is sinking that ship. So do you take it? Do you look out for your own skin? Do you collect your paycheck and try and do well for the next club? My decision was I care about this club enough that I'm not going to let it just go down without a fight.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And one point I loved in that was in your time, I believe it was in Norway, when talking about relegation and how while you were playing, like that was always a risk for the teams that you were playing on, and the comparison between how the thought process behind how players handled the possibility of relegation and compared to how they handle it here, right? Where it does not exist, right? So that affects your psyche and how you approach like work every day. And then when you were talking to one of your teammates about the comparison between promotion relegation in Europe and the fact that it didn't exist in American soccer, and how they were more comfortable with the idea of soccer teams failing, but in the U.S. we're comfortable with people failing, right? And like they don't deserve welfare and all that stuff. But our sports team always get propped up and make sure that they survive. So what was sort of being there and sort of explain? Did you have to like? I don't know, explain things to them, or did they have to like sort of adjust to you or things like that? Were you too intense for them?
Scandinavians definitely had to adjust to what I was bringing, but that's also why they brought me over. I mean, they literally brought me over partially for my playing, but partially just because Scandinavians are so timid. They needed someone to come in and provide a little bit of edge.
Just be American as hell.
Totally. They
Show up in an American flag vest.
The American personality, man. They would talk about that all the time.
Really?
And I could offer that. Yeah, but going to your question, we're a capitalist society that lets the 76ers get last for 5 straight years. And here you go. You can have Ben Simmons. You can have Joel Embiid. You can have Nerlens Noel. And this isn't a statement
It'd be nice if they did that for the Knicks. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, right?
Why don't they do that?
19 years
So,
straight.
so sorry, guys. Do you want to be Sixers fans now? We'll take you.
I'm going to be New York Liberty fan. That's it. I'm done with the Knicks.
So there's this interesting dichotomy between what the societies were like. Scandinavia, this basically the socialist community, but they would let clubs fail. And I was on clubs that we got relegated, and now 2 years later, they barely exist. And it's heartbreaking, right? You talk about this idea. It's fun to talk about promotion relegation. I think there's a really good convo to be had in this country that's not being had for a variety of reasons. But having lived through it, I mean, these clubs, these giant clubs get relegated, and if you don't make it back in a year, your budget is donezo, and all of a sudden your whole community, your whole town, your whole city doesn't have a sporting team to cheer for, which I know some people say, this is capitalist America, we should do that. But it's a complicated question, especially when you live through it and you see how traumatic it is for these cities.
Yeah, well, when you saw, I don't know if you watched Sunderland Till I Die, but like, yeah, I'm not a fan of Sunderland, but of course, emotionally, I'm like,
You become, emotionally attached.
I don't even care about the players. I'm like, the assistants.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the assistants. Where are they going to go?
Yeah, oh no, who's going to answer the phones? You get attached to the whole. You don't think of as a team as a business. It's very rare that you think of it that way. I'm an Arsenal fan. Very rarely do I think like, oh, I gotta, hopefully they get a few more hires. I don't think of that. I think like I want players, not like a $6 million kid no one's ever heard of. Shouts to Martinelli. Thanks for coming. Like that's what you want. You want all these things. So when we talk about promotion relegation, I think everyone always associates the sort of the boost it would give to development more than what happens if you fail. You're like, well, we're not going to think about that.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to get promoted, right? Everybody gets promoted perpetually.
So another thing also get Bobby's book on
It's incredible.
Amazon.
I know because he told me.
It's very good and very just touching. More than even if you're not a fan of soccer, the stories of traveling abroad and being away from family and taking these challenges. And one was your time. So I might get the teams sort of mixed up and stuff. What was the Angle Homes? Was that the team that you had the great year and all right, and then you just missed winning the title.
Yeah.
But then you decided to leave the next year.
Yeah.
And that reading it, I'm like, well, he had a good thing going. Why would he leave that situation, especially after having dealt with what he went through in Dallas? Why leave?
I ask myself that every single day. I could be playing in Champions League right now.
Yeah.
The people that didn't read it, right? I crush it for Engelholm. Dallas picks up my option. So I have to come back, right? They loaned me out. I didn't have a choice. I could have gone on strike and said, if you pick up my option, I'm out. But I didn't have the firm bid from Malmo, who was in Champions League the next year, or Helsingborg. There was rumors, there were conversations. There was no firm bid. So, do I go on strike? Dallas says no. My reputation in MLS is ruined just for something that maybe comes together. I decided to be a wussy. And I look back, I was a wussy, right? You have one career. You have one part. Your agent doesn't fight for you. Your manager doesn't fight for you. You were the only one who fights for yourself. I got scared. I didn't do it. I should have.
I mean, that's hindsight's 20/20, though. I mean,
Right.
if one thing's not confirmed, you're like, I guess I gotta. Yeah.
But I think I would have taken more risks. I mean, you took a risk. You quit your job,
Right.
and now you're doing this. Do you regret that?
I got laid off, and I've never looked back.
I love
That's
them.
fair. But you could have gotten a new job in the same
100%,
industry.
no.
That's
Like
where I was going
I
with that.
never looked back. My wife looked back many times.
You're still
The
together.
beginning of the month, she's always like,
Congratulations.
yeah. She's like, are you going to help with this rent ever? But no, I did not look back. But there's times where I'm like, like any comedian has that moment where you're like, how long is I get the struggling artist, but we're not past that chapter yet. How long are we gonna make this chapter?
I was the brave one. I did quit my job. I quit my job on my birthday, and I just said
That's when you do it,
On
right?
purpose? Did you know you were gonna do it on your birthday?
I sort of did. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like, yeah, I gave like maybe a month notice. And I was like, this is when I'm done, and I'm gonna focus on comedy, and I have the mentality that it'll work out. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not gonna be homeless.
Did you just throw the biggest banger that night? Was it like a double party in one?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't even know.
You left an IT job, not a coke ring. Yeah.
I didn't like.
Yeah.
It wasn't me like.
He went to a LAN
cashing
party.
in my 401k from my stockbroker job.
Yeah.
I didn't go.
Warm up the helicopter, boys. The kid is back.
Fun coupons, as they say.
Everybody, yo, I'm looking at Groupon right now. We gonna party.
But the challenges that just sort of life sort of brought you is what made me connect with. Like as an artist, as whatever, I think there's just truly a lot to relate to about taking those kinds of risks. And
yeah, we find a lot of similarities with athletes and comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
bodies no, but the
But
going
you wear
after
this
it.
jersey nice, dude.
Thank you. Yeah,
You
it's
look
a little
good.
bit bigger than I expected. Thank you so much, Umbro.
If you had on a Panama jersey, I might think you were Torres.
Thank you. Okay, I gotta give me some big hair now.
So you did come back. Obviously, you didn't play in Dallas, but that you went to I don't know how to say any of the Gaius.
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 Okay. So that was in Sweden.
Yes.
Okay. So
Gothenburg, great city, by the way.
okay, cool.
Great city.
Really?
They have lunch buffets, so you show up, you pay your $10, and they just have all sorts of breads and salads. Great thing. We need to bring it here. Gothenburg lunch.
Okay.
First of all, did not expect food to become a topic here.
I know how to play to the host, man.
Yeah.
I know how to play to
this
the host.
book I've read.
So, yeah, first of all, I want to say that what you said about not having to like soccer to like the book is the best compliment I could get. That's very touching because that was the goal. How can you make this about life? It's ostensibly about soccer, but it's really about these challenges that we all face, these problems. When we talk about the problem with your boss or the head coaches, I bet you so many people out there have that same thing going on, that same question going through their head. You talk about taking risks and moving and the chapter on relationships and sexuality. Ideally, I experienced them through soccer, but you experienced them in the same way, and it made you think about things in your own life and feel connected to.
Well, I mean, that's what we do, right? As a joke, I went through an experience, right, where, I thought I had cancer, and I'm like, how do I make this more universal? No, but it was, the point is, I thought I had
We've all
dick
been there,
cancer.
man. We've all.
The thing is,
And
dick
if you
cancer.
haven't
I was
thought you've
trying
had
to-
dick cancer, you
I
are
was trying
lying.
to avoid saying the word dick on this podcast.
There's
but
all been that
whatever.
one night when we're like,
Yeah.
it's cancer. It's not me.
Swear
It's
to God.
cancer.
Does cancer burn when you pee? No, stop swiping right for 1 minute, Bobby. So I thought I had dick cancer. Long story short, when I tell this joke, it's very specific. How do I make this more
And
universal?
if we're talking about Alexis's dick, it's a very
Yeah.
short story.
Yeah. Oh.
Boom. Let's do it.
But the joke is, the story is wider than you thought. Okay, so, son of a. All right. The point I'm trying to make is, how do you make something like that universal so that a woman in the audience who doesn't have a penis, or a guy who never had, a cancer scare, how do you get them to sort of relate? Not everyone who read your book played soccer, but they have something that they can relate to.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing that I found, reading it, I don't know whether to feel proud of you or sad,
Or dislike. Or just straight
even-
up dislike for
yeah,
large
no,
parts of the
definitely.
book.
I think when I started reading the book, it was I only know Bobby through my phone and seeing him on the MLS stuff and sort of seeing him argue with people. So you can see like, oh, he might be a little bit confrontational, a little difficult, whatever. But after reading a couple pages, I'm like, this dude is a sincere guy and who again, like I mentioned before, very self-aware. And one thing I really really enjoyed was when you came back and played in USL and how hard of a decision that was for you, because I loved speaking of when we talk about people who are just gully as hell, and Bobby's one of them, because he was just straight up like, yo, it's just a bunch of trash dudes. Nobody knows. Nobody wants to play with any of these fools out there. And I love that. That's how
Saying it into a megaphone was a bit rough. I thought that was a little disrespectful.
I love the honesty, because while you're playing, and if you have a job, especially you play in MLS, like you can't. We've spoken to players that you can't just go off on people because it's gonna hurt your bag, right? So I love that honesty about it. So how do you feel about that decision to go back and you play for the Harrisburg City Islanders? How was that decision? How do you reflect on that decision now?
It was the right decision for me because I needed a transition, right? I knew after Norway I was pretty done. You know, if I could have had a nice big career move, maybe to Israel, I could have made a nice paycheck. I could have lived in Tel Aviv.
That part was amazing in the book. Please check that out.
You guys been to Tel Aviv, by the way?
No, never.
Great. You would love Tel Aviv.
Food, I heard, is incredible.
If you folded the pizza, they would give you a look, but it's good.
Yeah. Oh my God. First of all, I'd be yelling at everybody, fold your pizza, unless you're like 18 to 20, because then I know y'all.
Shabbat shalom. Fold that.
Yeah, my brother.
So, if I didn't have a nice career move, I was ready to stop. I was ready to move on to whatever the next challenge was because I had stopped progressing. It stopped being a challenge, and it was a paycheck. It was a lifestyle. But I needed that transition. I hadn't been around my parents for 10 years, between Stanford and California to Texas to Europe. I hadn't been around them. I needed to be around them. My dad had just retired. He was bored. He had nothing to do. I think that he needed help with that. He probably doesn't like me saying that, but I think it was the right decision in that way. And that made me feel good to feel like I could help in some way.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's helped me train. I did the GMAT. I started the book. I got into conversation with Major League Soccer. So logistically, it was the right decision for me.
All right.
Not a great answer. When someone's like, logistically, it was the right thing to do, you're like,
emotionally, I have no clue, but logistically, it worked out. Look, at the end of the day, and I think this is one of the things that we talk about as comedians. You know, when we started this podcast, most comedians look at a podcast as like a side hustle, and Christian and I almost like treated this like it was our job during the day, and at night we do stand up. So like you never know where your career is going to lead or what choices you make will lead to something else. But the one thing I think at the end of the day, thank God you didn't stay with that team Anglesworth. What is it again? Anglehorns? Anglehorns?
Anglesporf.
Yeah, Anglesporf. Was it in Turkey?
I'm Anglesporf till I die.
Yeah. Anglesporf till I die. I'm Anglesporf till I die. I know I blurg. I'm Anglesporf till I die. Well, thank God you didn't, because you wouldn't have joined MLSsoccer.com. You wouldn't be on Extra Time, and you wouldn't be here.
Okay.
So
this is where it all culminates. In my head, I was like, that
Boom.
one day.
The peak of Bobby's career.
when you were a kid, you had a poster of the World Cup, and next to that was two somewhat successful comedians, one of which was losing weight, and the other one who looks good. And you were like, one of these days, I'll find a way to merge these two.
Well, like I did say before, please get Bobby's book. It's very, very good.
It's amazing.
Whether you are, again, a fan of soccer or not, or honestly, I've read a couple, I don't know, I've maybe read like 15 soccer books. It's like one of my favorites.
What's your favorite?
You put me on the spot. This one.
Okay. Think
Good
about the
answer.
others.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
hear at the
think
end so we can share notes.
Okay, cool. So that's it. Anything else you want to add, or maybe let me ask a couple questions from the Gully Squad members that we have. We'll see if we can get through these quickly. Ed Eberhard, who sent us that great artwork last week. Last week, he asked, "Will Cincinnati's bumpy 2019 change?"
Bumpy.
Bumpy 2019. very nice way to put it.
Cute.
Will Cincinnati's bumpy 2019 change the way MLS evaluates expansion candidates, cities / clubs?
No, because they got a check. So who cares?
Well, that was for Bobby,
I
not
know,
you.
but what's Bobby going to say now?
I think that was pretty. No, it's, 'cause MLS. Everything else has been great, right? The fans have been showing up, the buzz. Just because the team on the field and the way they went about putting that team in the field and the way they went about coaching that team on the field hasn't been good. So it was still a sound decision. Yeah, they demonstrated that the city of Cincinnati is right for an MLS team. So no, it definitely won't make them rethink
And when they
anything.
finally get one, oh my God, they're going to be good. Because right now they have the USL team. Yeah. Right, playing. So when they finally get an MLS team.
Yeah. It'll make executives and people rethink how they go about building the team, who they give the keys to and what coaches they hire and all that. But from an executive decision, no.
Okay, so then next up.
In other words, don't spend all your TAM and GAM on the draft. Okay, move on.
How are you going to disrespect Darren Maddox when you're wearing his jersey?
Shouts to Darren Maddox.
If you're going to, Darren Maddox is goalie, guys. I don't know how you tell you this. He's
well
goalie.
gully.
Okay.
No, he is official, part of the Gully Squad.
This is from Mike Chiara. He says, what are your thoughts on the state of lower league soccer in the U.S.? Would you recommend that a player play abroad in a second or third division there rather than in the States?
I would tell everyone to go abroad more for the life experience. Your career is a dice roll. right? I'm not going to lie to you. Whether your career succeeds is impossible to predict. It's one of these things I think about when we look at the under-20s and all these bright stars now. Like, if you're insane, if you try and project who's going to work out, with that in mind, go do something new. Go get paid to live in Turkey, to live in Germany, to live in Norway or Sweden. Get the life experience. Acknowledge, and I know this is hard, acknowledge you might not have Manchester United and split the difference. Play professional soccer, try and make the pathway work, but also get this experience, which will be hard, and you might not even enjoy life that much, but it's worth doing.
Yeah, go smash somebody in Turkey, dude. Come on.
Oh, and just be clear, he means sex when he says smash.
Yeah.
Because Turkey could be a little bit dicey with that kind of
Going
stuff.
back to the extra time invite.
Oh, is this why we don't get invited? Whatever, get a bleeper.
So, this question is from Jay Riddle, our friend Jay Riddle. He asks, why do they continue to disregard the soccer pillows collecting dust in their prop bin? Apparently, there's soccer pillows, in the extra time studio, in the MLS studio.
Well, going back to the idea of the craft of this, my first couple weeks, we would sit on the couch and I would hold the pillow because it felt comfortable, right? That's what you do when you sit on a couch. You hold a pillow. A normal person.
That's only if you're laying on a couch and a therapist.
Holding the pillow felt right.
Yeah.
I would get yelled at by the producers. Not yelled at, right? They weren't scolding me, but they're like, Bobby.
You don't yell at Bobby Wasrhaw, trust me.
You saw what he did to Hyman.
Well, listen, you're a professional. Professionals don't hold soccer pillows while crouching over on a couch.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, sir. So I try and sit up straight. I try and have my hands on the table and do things like a professional.
All right, cool. All right, last two. This is from Jason Pena. He says, the U.S. men's national team has disappointed me with their Gold Cup play so far, to the point that I won't be surprised to see them struggle to qualify for the 2022 World Cup. Am I overreacting?
No, you're not overreacting. I think that's fair. It breaks my heart to say, and I should have said earlier in the show, I hate talking about the men's national team right now. It's just so toxic. It's so negative, and I'm not sure people are wrong, right? The player pool, the way they're playing right now, the potential lack of progress. I think that those are real concerns. Do I think they'll qualify? Yes. Do I think they'll get better? Yes. But I would not be able to talk someone out of thinking the opposite.
Got it. Okay. And then last question is from
here.
Kevin Brothers. He asks, outside of LAFC, how does he feel, how does Bobby feel about the Western Conference? Who does he see really pushing them?
You have to look at Portland right now, right?
Okay.
Have you guys seen Brian Fernandez yet? Have you got a chance to watch?
What is he, 9 goals in 10 games?
6 and 5.
Plus the Open Cup.
Oh,
I think he got a couple.
Correct,
Right. So he's amazing, especially at Providence Park. One of my, I would say, unique thoughts right now is FC Dallas is the second most cohesive team. LAFC are crushing people because they're talented, but also because Bob Bradley has built a machine.
Yeah.
Right? 11 guys working together like a machine. I think FC Dallas have the second best machine. The problem is that it's Jesus Ferreira and not Brian Fernandez or Diego Valeri. And talent, talent is a question. Those two, and obviously Seattle. It'd be interesting to see if SKC can get it back. I love the way SKC play, but they are just fumbling over themselves right now. So that's the big question for me.
Okay.
Can anyone in the East compete with them?
Yeah,
I know you're
LA.
a big Philly guy, but
I'm not sure. I'm still concerned about Philly in a big game. But if you're going to talk about Red Bulls, especially since we think LAFC will try and stick to their philosophy and pass, when you try and pass against Red Bulls, and you guys don't like to hear this, but you lose, right? There's a reason.
no, we've sat through a lot of that.
Yeah, right. Seriously, there's a reason Atlanta United did not try and pass. Everyone gets mad at Chris Armas for the way he played. Atlanta United was not going to pass against them because you can't. So if a team in the Western Conference in a single game in MLS Cup says we're going to try and pass through Red Bulls, they're going to lose.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. So I want to make sure we do. I want to do an outro with Bobby. So Bobby will be the outro of the episode, not just us doing it.
Okay.
Because we got to do it while he's here.
Of course.
Okay. So with that said, thank you again, Bobby, for doing the show. Again, make sure you get his book. The title of the book is called "When the Dream Became Reality," and then the journey of a professional soccer player and the push to meaning, purpose, and contentment. You know how it is. His editor was like, it needs to be a little bit longer. The title.
Get more buzzwords in there for the SEO, baby.
But no, it's an incredible book. I really, really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. So, okay. So with that said, for Bobby Warshaw.
No.
Oh,
First, we have a gift for you.
we have the gift for you.
I've
Yes.
wanted this for so long.
Okay.
I know.
Can I tell you guys this is a thank you for having me on? I consider one of the honors of American soccer now to be invited on the Cooligans.
Wow.
I think it's a stepping stone. I think other people would agree with that to be invited with you guys is an exciting and a big thing.
That's
you
very
have
sweet.
no idea how much we paid him to say that.
More or less than North Korea.
That's very sweet of you
Well,
to say.
he actually told us it's the same amount of his Engelflumson's contract. So, which of course you all love that team.
That means a lot,
Yeah,
Bobby,
no,
especially
really,
coming
thank
from you. It's we're trying our best to make sense of all this stuff.
What the hell we're doing, we don't know, but we're doing it.
So thank you again. So with that said, for Bobby, you know how we end the show. For Bobby Warshaw.
Well, don't forget, we also had our segment where we reviewed the women's national team winning.
Yeah,
just now.
That's right. We did do that.
So we literally just cut this.
I'm back
Yeah,
real quick.
Bobby's back.
for
Bobby's
the
back.
exit.
We're gonna say goodbye. So go ahead.
So for Bobby Warshaw, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
What's up? It's the world champion, Judah Friedlander, and you're watching the Cooligans. Why? Because you're cool. This is what winners look like right here, man.
I mean, you're looking at us.
Right now with my legs, I just juggled the ball 80,000 times.
You missed it.
Yeah.
He's been playing keepy uppy since I met him.
Yep, look faster, guys.
Go Team USA.